Move on to the next game. I'll let you go first. It is I guess you could say, resilient after last game, Newcastle Knights. First up.
Yeah, you got Lachlan Miller in the fullback position with Greg Mazhue and Harmel Hunt in the wing position with Dan Gagai and Bradman Best in the centre roles. We've got Tyson Gamble and Jackson Hastings in the halves pairing with Daniel Taifidi and Leo Thompson in the front row position with Jayden Brayley in the hooker role. Brody Jones and Lachlan Fitzgibbon in the second row position with Kurt Mann to round out the lock position. Phoenix Crossland, Jack Harrington, Matt Croker, Jack Johns, and Dylan Lucas to round out the bench. Again, on paper, you probably say again the Knights are going to score a maximum of 18 points. So that's 3 converted tries. It's just all relying on the defense from here on out. I reckon this is going to be a good game going into it. Your thoughts, Tony?
I think it's good to mention that obviously Saifidi is carrying a shoulder injury, so he is named in this lineup. We don't know if he will start in this game given that injury, but he has been named. So I guess by all accounts of what we know right now, he should be playing in this game. Obviously, Jayden Brayley does return into that hooker position from the head knock. Jack Johns returns to the bench after an ankle injury. I guess the big talking point, and I am going to throw this back to you to get your thoughts. Greg Marshew in that number 5, Dominic Young, he gets named that he's signing with the Roosters. They want him early. Newcastle say no. Fast forward 3 weeks later, and he's sitting not even on the bench. He's sitting in reserve grade. So I get he had a terrible game. I get he was an absolute shocker last week, but it's a man that can find the try line and a man that scores a lot of your tries. Is this a mistake? Is this just me that's looking past this, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, see, I got a whisper that he's picked up a slight knock in the knee area. This is reported. So it's not like he's injured, but they're just going to give him this week off, and that's why they haven't named him this week. Yeah, he had the greatest games last weekend, but that was last week. This is this week. So I think they're giving him a rest for this weekend and this weekend only.
Yeah, 100%. You might be right. And obviously, if he's got a little bit of a niggle, let's rest him until next year, round 1, and get him across to the Roosters for that preseason training. Like, there's no reason for him to pick up any injuries this year, Newcastle. So just give him a bit of a rest. But let's jump into their opponents. It's Ricky's Raiders. You've got Sebastian Chris, James Schiller, Matthew Tomoko, Harley Smith-Shields, Albert Hopewadi, Jack White, and Jamal Fogarty, Josh Papali'i, Zach Wolford, Joseph Tarpany, Hudson Young, Elliot Whitehead, Corey Big Red Nira going over, Tom Starling, Pasami Suolo, Corey Horsburgh, Emre Gula, and Matt Frawley. Now, he had a calf injury. Josh Papali is named. It's a massive in. They got the first win, but do you think if you've got a player like Josh Papali in a game where, let's be honest, you should be beating Newcastle. You should be beating Newcastle regardless if Josh Papali plays. Would you have been resting him for another week?
Like to say, like, I understand that coaches are pumped by boards, so they rush players back maybe a week or 2 early to sort of get those 2 points to keep the board off their back. But I don't think Ricky's under that kind of pressure from his Canberra board in regard to his role there as a head coach. So maybe this is one of them where they should have let him rest another week, Josh Papali'i. But time will tell going into this match. I believe it is the 4:00 game on Sunday, so it'll be one to watch. And I'm going to back him. I'm going to back the gutless dogs in Canberra Raiders or the weak gutted dogs in Canberra Raiders and my boy Ricky. So I'm going to go Raiders in a tight one, 1-12.
We talk about, obviously, one Corey being absolute red-hot form in the number 13. Let's talk about the redhead Corey Horsburgh on the bench. He has a hot dog named after him. He goes and puts 2 tries on there. That hot dog, I don't know if I'd be able to even finish that hot dog. It's a It's an absolute massive. I might put a photo up on socials on Instagram because, mate, it looked like a heart attack waiting to happen. But obviously, Corey Harunira, he's in great form, but the big redhead off the bench, the big fiery redhead gets a double, talks a bit of shit and moves on after that. So remind me once again, what was your prediction? I kind of phased out for a sec there.
Oh, I'm going for Canberra 1-12. A week gutted dogs. Hashtag.
The week gutted dogs is back now. I am going to tip Canberra. The stat I have for this game, I'm a man of many stats this week. I've got these stats. I've done my research.
He's the stat.
The Knights have not won at home at McDonald James Stadium in their last 6 games. So 6 games on the trot. They have not won a single game at home. And my stat for last game, which I forgot to say, if you're looking for an anytime try scorer, Josh Adokar has scored 4 in his last 5 games against the Warriors. So I'm a man of many stats this week. I'll get them all in there. I'll continue to do this, but I can guarantee you it's not going to happen week in, week out. But Knights, they haven't won there in 6 games. I think you're going to add a 7th game into that. And based off last week's performance against the Sharks, I'm going to go these boys, the Raiders, 13+. So again, the same tip, a different margin. Someone will get bonus points if the Raiders win, but we're both in, I guess, unicism that the Raiders are going to destroy the Knights, and the Knights are in for another dismal week. But